Most casual players adhere to the golden rule of casual gameplay, sticking to a budget. But those players that have given years to mastering poker are the ones that are prone to putting massive sums on the line. What is up guys, Maxi from Poker Bounty bringing you today a list of poker players that have endured cringeworthy losses. Number 1. The poker player Malaysia was first discovered on the high-stakes tables of Full Tilt Poker on Thursday, May 16, 2013. Since then, a total of 49,000 poker hands have been tracked, with Malaysia's results being 4.596 millions down the drain. This unknown player had been confirmed by Poker News to be Paul Phua, who in 2012 was noted to be one of the most influential VIP gaming promoters in Macau. He is currently more known as one of the key players of the big game, the Nosebleed Cash Games at the Poker King Club in Macau, very likely the biggest poker game running on a regular basis. He is, according to rumors, one big winner over there. Malaysia also played on both PokerStars and Full Tilt Poker. His online play does not seem to mirror his live game success, as his graphs on high stakes DB show a losing trend. As of May 2014, he's down over $5 million combined from both sides. Number 2. Of all the players in this list, this is the one you have most likely never heard of. His online nicknames, however, are legendary. They are Pat Pat Panda, Pat Pat Man, and Sam Roston, crossing the $15 million mark in entirely the wrong direction. After starting out as Pat Pat Panda before switching to screen name Sam Roston, Chun Lei Zhu is undoubtedly one of the biggest losing players on Full Tilt and also on PokerStars, where he played under the name Pat Pat Man. When Zhu stepped out into the light as one of the biggest losers of all time, he explained his losses quite happily, telling a Poker News reporter, "It's okay, before I only played no limit hold'em games. Sometimes no one played me, so I learned other ring games and I lose a lot of money. But I love to play poker." He says he likes to play online because it's fast and he can play more tables, while live game is pretty boring for him. Zhu has faced such pros such as Phil Galfond, Victor Blom, and Phil Ivey. No matter his opponent, Chun Lei Zhu loves to play poker. He likes online games at the high stakes and will play long sessions, often up to 16 hours at a time. Too many people laugh at these big losing players while remaining blind to an important fact. You don't end up as the online player's biggest losers by being a quitter who throws in the towel when things go badly. And yet, despite his horrific $15 million hole, Zhu somehow managed to learn how to play the game before his money ran out, and his last incarnation, Sam Roston on PokerStars, is actually a winner. It's unlikely that Chun Lei Zhu will ever recover even a decent chunk of his losses, but he will almost certainly always be in the online poker records as the only player to lose 8 figures without multi-accounting, just behind Gus Hansen. Number 3. There is little that can be said about the Great Dane's brutal online results that haven't been said before. Unlike his prolific live cash gameplay, Gus Hansen simply couldn't catch a break when he was in front of a screen, the number $20 million with a minus sign, quite capable of breaking a lesser man. Sometime during mid-2009, Gus Hansen dipped into the red and steadily spiraled out of control. By October of 2010, he was down $10 million online. After hitting what seemed to be rock bottom, he began an incredible comeback that saw him erase over $7 million of that deficit. Then Black Friday hit, and Gus Hansen didn't play online until late 2012. Once Full Tilt Poker relaunched, Hansen picked up from where he left off, but in the wrong direction. From November 2012 until March 2015, Gus Hansen dropped over $17 million to bring his career losses to almost $21 million. It's easy for people to say that variance takes a lifetime to balance out, but in his 1.6 million hands or so that he has played online, Gus Hansen's true ability has been revealed. In fact, this opinion fails to give consideration to important aspects of this data, such as the fact that Gus Hansen never goes hunting for weak players. He makes a point of sitting against the very best every time he plays online. By his own admission, he's very stubborn and refuses to drop down in stakes to make life easier. He also claims that he has failed to work on controlling tilt issues despite knowing that he could improve his results by doing so. Gus Hansen has perhaps demonstrated the worst table selection of anyone online, and when you look at his loss of over $21 million, you would be tempted to think that's a huge sum and that he is a terrible poker player. When you break the numbers down for the stakes he's playing and the number of hands that he has played, his average win rate would only be a small negative number. Number 4. Take a look at high stakes DB's overall results and you will see that no single account even comes close to Gus Hansen's when it comes to online losses, sitting at a staggering $20.73 million. However, Gus Hansen is by no means the biggest online loser. That dubious honor goes to Canadian billionaire and Cirque du Soleil founder and philanthropist Guy Laliberté, whose combined accounts have lost in excess of $31 million between 2006 and 12. There's no doubting that Chris Moneymaker's 2003 WSOP main event win kickstarted the poker boom. There's also no question that sponsorship money paid out by likes of Full Tilt in the mid-2000s helped fuel the poker economy and make household names out of online stars. But perhaps Guy Laliberté is the unsung hero of the online high-stakes poker economy, as he handed tens of millions of dollars to the likes of Tom Dwan, Phil Ivey, the Dang brothers, Phil Galfond, and Patrick Antonius over a 6-year period at a time when the biggest ever online cash games took place. He has helped to set up the big one-for-one drop tournament at the WSOP, generating huge amounts of money for the One Drop Foundation, which he himself founded, and has been a keen poker player for several years. The reason Guy's losses don't appear to come close to Gus Hansen is because, unlike most people, and strictly against the site's terms and conditions, he seemed to be able to multi-account with impunity at Full Tilt, playing several different accounts, some of them during the same time periods. While some people on the forum cried unfair, it's easy to see why Full Tilt would have been willing to turn a blind eye to such going-ons. Firstly, Guy brought the sharks flocking to Rail Heaven. Full Tilt's $501,000 stake tables and games at Rail Heaven created interest, generated excitement, big pots, and epic clashes. Secondly, Guy Laliberté's constant bleeding of cash to the other high-stakes pros enabled them to keep playing each other without fear of cannibalizing the game. And thirdly, if they hadn't allowed him to multi-account, it's likely Guy would have left sooner. Although it didn't take long for pros to work out who the new guy at the table was, at least when he initially showed up with a new account, he got to play anonymously for a while. Guy Laliberté's first registered account was noataima, which first showed in searches on October 17, 2006. Last seen in April of 2008, this was Guy's biggest losing account with minus $7.067 million in losses between the high-stakes No Limit Hold'em and PLO tables. His second account was Patatino, also on Full Tilt Poker, and shows negative $5.92 million in losses between April 5th, 2007 and February of 2009. One positive thing to say about this account is that Guy was playing it when he won the biggest pot of his online career, and it's certainly the biggest ever pot won with just a pair of deuces. The next account associated with Laliberté, again at Full Tilt, was Lady Marmelade, which was first seen on April 12th, 2008 and was active until the start of 2009. In 37,000 hands, Guy lost another $6.63 million, making it the second biggest losing account. The least of Guy Laliberté's known accounts was that of elmariachimacho, where he played 18,800 hands between September 1st, 2008 and the end of the year, losing another $4.16 million in the process. Other than this, elmariachimacho was Laliberté's fastest losing account, and he lost an average of more than $220 for each of the 18,800 hands he played on it. The final Full Tilt account we know of is Esvedra, on which he played for a year from July 2010 to 11, putting in another 29,300 hands for a total loss of minus $2.68 million. The last account of Guy Laliberté is the PokerStars account Zephyrin, which ran from January 2011 to October of 2012. This was Laliberté's most active account, where he played almost 124,000 hands, almost double the number of his next busiest account, noataima. During these hands, he lost another $4.6 million, although it was by far his slowest loss rate at just $38 lost on average per hand. Although this is more likely indicative of the substantially lower high-stakes games which ran at PokerStars as compared to Full Tilt of any massive increase in skill on Laliberté's part. Interestingly, Zephyrin ceased playing at precisely the time when the new Full Tilt Poker reopened. This would make sense, as it would stand to reason that Laliberté would naturally want to play the highest stakes available, and from the moment they reopened their doors, Full Tilt had by far the biggest games. However, it was never discovered whether or not the Canadian businessman ever opened a new Full Tilt account, and most of the biggest losing accounts from Full Tilt are accounted for. Still, as this figure represents less than 3% of Laliberté's net worth and is actually $4 million less than he spent on his 2009 12-day tourist trip into space, at least he can afford it. It's important to bear a few things in mind before mocking, or indeed sympathizing, with Guy Laliberté. Firstly, he is a very wealthy man who has been a big winner in life throughout, and is probably happy to throw away that kind of loose change about because he enjoys the thrill of playing high-stakes poker. Secondly, we don't know how much he may have won or lost in live games where he could be up against rich businessmen who are poker players of limited ability. Thirdly, as founder of the One Drop Foundation and his subsequent involvement in the associated WSOP event, he has done great things for the poker world and also the real world. These losing players deserve our respect and admiration for the sheer perseverance, and above all else, we should remember that they have always been the pillars upon which the world of high-stakes poker is balanced. If you like this video, leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.